just make sure turn live notifications on is checked and you're good to go. So what are the kinds of things that you need in order to master bow making? Do you have to have a cutting mat? Do you have to have a fluff board? Do you have to have a bow maker? I would say on all of those, no. You can start with the very basics and work your way up from there. And that's where we're going to start today. We're going to pretend we have no cutting mat, but I'm sure most of you have a ruler or, whatchamacallit, a tape measure, like a measuring tape, like one of these doodads. Because the more accurate you can be on all the things, especially if you're just doing it from the get-go, the easier it's going to be for you. So if you have those two things, good. You don't need the cutting mat at all. Cutting mat is definitely a bonus because it's always there. You don't have to go look for the ruler or tape measure. You will need, depending upon your ribbon, a really good pair of ribbon cutting scissors. So I always have ones that are like Mom's really good cutting scissors. And then I always get the junky ones because here's the junky ones that I'm talking about, like Betty Crocker. You can get these at the Dollar Tree. Because cutting the wire perpetually through all the ribbon is going to dull your shears. But nothing replaces a good pair of scissors when you have a satin-based or like a polyester weight ribbon, or even ribbon that it's wired, but it's so thin you would swear that it's not. And those can pose a challenge when using your bigger scissors because that ribbon just slides and never stays in place. So those are a couple things. Then you are going to want something to secure your ribbon. You can use string. You can use zip ties. You can use pipe cleaners. You can use floral wire. I'm trying to think of like what else could you use to secure it? A bow. You have to have something. So as long as you have something, you're good to go. So like I said, you can do floral wire, you can use zip ties, you can use pipe cleaners, which I'll grab right here. Here's some pipe cleaners, or just string. Okay, so we're going to start off with the most basic bow, and for this one you don't need a bow maker for. It's handy if you have it, because for people who have arthritis, holding things for a long period of time can become straining on your hands. But do you have a chip clip? Do you have, where are they? Let me see if I can find one. It's been eons since I used one. Do you have a clothespin? Most of us have chip clips. Do you have a binder clip? You can secure and hold that with those until you move up into I need a bow maker, because you're going to start to realize how easy it is once you have the bow maker, because it takes the securing and holding to a whole new level, and then it's almost like you have an extra set of hands. So Deborah says, you're the master of picking color palettes. They're all appealing and give a cohesive look. Thank you, Deborah, for your 100 stars. For those of you that are on Facebook wondering what stars are, those are a way of tipping, and every single star is worth 1 cent. So it's kind of like a way that you can kind of give back to your fellow creators. Joan says, glad to see it's on making bows. I struggle with getting my bows wired. I seem to get them a little lopsided. Hi, Gail. I'm so happy to see you. Okay. Hi, Nadia from Bakersfield. Hi, Joan. We are making bows. Debbie says, I think fluffing the bow properly can make a bow better. I'm not so confident with that. Great. Thank you so much for providing me with some content on what we can do. So today's basic bow making. So we're going to assume we don't have a bow maker. There are 3 different ones. I think there's a 4th one out there. But there's the Bow Dabra, there's the Pro Bow, there's an Easy Bow Maker, and I think that there's another one that somebody has kind of put together. But basically, they're all the same thing. They're holding your bow so that you can master the same technique. Joan says your bows are a little lopsided. So we're going to remedy that. And the easiest way, see, I just got kicked out of my own Facebook page yet again. Weird. Okay. So the best suggestion I have for you is if you can get a hold of Sam's or Costco and you can get a 50-yard spool of ribbon, which are those big ribbons that like Costco sells. These are great for practicing. So, and I think they're like $7.99 for a 50-yard spool, which is way better than you're going to find on Craft Outlet or the Reshop or anybody else that's offering them. And it's great for practicing your bows with. Be careful. And I always say when you're shopping for your ribbons, because they change over time, manufacturers, like everything else, are doing less quality product. Still the same amount, but sometimes they're charging a little bit more. So you kind of have to be savvy. Anything that says that it is I'm looking to see if it even has it here. Lordy. Does this even say what the material makeup is on this one? No. Just that if you're not completely satisfied, your money will be refunded. But this type, you can kind of tell it's a little bit of a slick satin. So this is it's going to be wired, but it's going to be a very thin wire. So the easiest way to determine how thin the wire is, the higher the number, the thinner the wire. So if you're dealing with something that has like a ribbon and it says it is, what is it, 22 gauge wired ribbon, that's going to be very, very thin. Something that has like I want to say like a 18, I'm trying to see like what this one is that I use. This is a 22 gauge. This is like a really good weight, but anything up from here is going to start to get less and less. You're going to have less and less structure. And then as well as the material can make it challenging even for someone like myself who's been doing this for a while. So I'm going to undo this one just to show you. And the great thing about Sam's and Costco is most of the time they have someplace on that display, and they've taped this right to the end, so I'm just going to cut this off. They have something on the display where you can feel it. And if they don't, I suggest sticking your hand in that ribbon and pulling out a piece so you can feel it. Because nothing can help you more than feeling the texture of your ribbon. And as you can tell, this doesn't have an awful lot of tensile strength to it, meaning the wire's not very thick. But it is wired because when I go to make a loop like this, it's going to hold its shape. Means if I fold it flat, if I go ahead and put my finger inside and fluff that up, we're back to holding the shape again. That's how you can tell if it's wired, even if it doesn't say. Pull it out. Like if we had the packaging wrapped around here, let's see if I can find a brand new package of ribbon to show you what I would do. Let's pull this. So this is a brand new package of ribbon, and let's say I pulled this off of the shelf and it doesn't really say wired or not. So how do I tell what is a good quality ribbon? Well, I want you to simply put your hand in and pull a portion of it out. Feel what the quality of the ribbon is. I love ribbon that is mostly like canvas or a cotton based ribbon because it holds its shape. It's not very translucent. When you go to add it to your wreath, it's going to hold its shape a little easier than say this would. This is still good. We can, I'll show you tips that we can use to kind of bulk this up and give it some more structure, but feel it. You know, if you're going to spend, I don't know, $10, $12, $15 for ribbon, you should make sure that it's ribbon that you want to purchase. So just pull it out of the sides. It's not harming the packaging at all. And feel and know that like something like this, you can definitely see and you can feel that the strength of the wire that is used on here is much thicker than the wire used here. This almost feels like it has none. But this one you can definitely tell if I just do anything with it, it'll kind of stay in its shape. So stronger strength gauge of the wire. So just remember, the higher the number, the thinner. Think of it like an airplane. The higher it goes in elevation, the thinner the air gets. So if we're dealing with like a 28 or 30 gauge wire, it's going to be really thin, and you're going to feel it when you go to work with it. Okay, so we've talked about wire strength. We've talked about some of the challenges in dealing with ribbon that's wired but is very thin. Dealing with polyester based, this is more like a satin based. It's a two-sided. It's got green on one side and orange on the other side. It was like pumpkin on the other side. No, we don't. So I'm going to just cut this off with the good scissors. So the good scissors will make all the difference in the world. It can still cut this with the thicker scissors. The more thicker the wire I go, the more I tend to go with like a cheaper based scissors, just to save the good ones for on, you know, if I'm trying to do a dovetail cut on here, it's gonna slip, but it's gonna be easier than trying to do it here. Let's do it on this piece and use the thicker, the cheapie. And like, I bought these when I first started out. I got like 5 pairs because they're only $1.25. So 5 pairs. I think this is the second one in 8 years. They last, but you're not going to be able to cut through like 6 tails of ribbon all at the same time. So let's talk a little bit about finishes. Meaning, what do the ends of your ribbon tails look like? So I'm going to cut this off and give you some options of a finished look on a ribbon. You want to either straight is kind of it's kind of boring. People like it to be jazzed up a bit. You could just do something super simple and just do it at a slant. We can do a slant. Looks better than the straight does. And then you can also master what's called fishtail, dovetail, ducktail. They're all the same thing. It's these little pinpoint issues on your ribbon. And before I learned how to make my bows, this is how I would do the dovetails. Okay? Before wreath making, this is how Kat would do her dovetails. I'd start at the corner. I'd go up about half. And then I'd come from the other side. And I hope I meet in the middle. I kind of overcut a little bit, but at least it looks good. There's so much. There's a much easier way of doing that. So let's cut this one off, and we're going to demonstrate the dovetail method. So folding it in half, okay? The destination is always going to be the same. It's going to be right here at the end of our wired part of our ribbon. If you're not sure which is wired, just go ahead and feel until you feel the wire. Sometimes it pops out a little bit, not to worry, but you're always going to, that's destination. That's where we want to wind up. And if you want a shallow dovetail, you're always going to cut from the fold down to that wired point, and this would be a shallow dovetail. If we wanted something a little bit more noticeable, then you're going to come up a little bit higher on your ribbon. Okay, destination always the same, but the higher you go up the folded side, always keeping your start off with even ribbon. So let's do that. Okay, now they're even. So, and I'm working with like the worst type of ribbon with the slippy. Most of us won't do this. Most of us will probably get something of good quality. I like my tails a little bit deeper, but again, that's preference. Everybody's going to do something a little bit different. So people call this fishtail because it looks like a fishtail, a dovetail. a ducktail. It's just the way to finish off your ribbons. Okay? Dara says, I loathe silky ribbon for bow making. Yeah, it's challenging, but we can master it. Okay, so let's look. What can we do? Basic ribbon, right? So let's say we're going to get, we'll use this one. This is like my favorite color. This is burnt orange. So the first thing I'm always going to say, so we're not using any of the bow making. Start off with your finished end. Get yourself into habit of when you start your bows, start with the finished look on the end. So I'm going to add a really nice finish to this. That's my start. Okay. And this is just 1.5 inch ribbon. You'll be a pro at measuring things. Once you get into wreath making, you'll know what 1.5 inches is. You'll know what 2.5 inches. You'll be able to just look at things and know. So we're going to start with a very basic hand-tied bow, because you can master any type of bow once you understand the basics of hand tying. And you might already be rolling your eyes going, I suck at hand-tied bows. So did I. You know, because we all did it the old-fashioned way, like we tie our shoes. No, we're not doing it that way. Your ribbon will always have a right side and a wrong side. And sometimes it's the same on both sides. I just generally look at which way am I pulling it off. So this would be my wrong side, even though it's exactly the same. Although if I look really closely, the stitching reveals the wire that's right here on the inside. So, taking our ruler, we are going to, I know this is a poor ruler to see. Let's see, do I have a darker one? I had a yellow one. Here's the yellow one. Let's do yellow because you can see that better. Okay, so we are going to measure off 7 inches. So you're going to line up the end of your ribbon right at the end of your ruler, and right here at 7 inches, okay, I want you to grab your ribbon and I want you to gather it together. Just kind of pinch it together, just like that. That's all I want you to do. Even if you want, tape your ruler down so it doesn't slide all over the place. What I want you to do is what is in your right hand, I want you to transfer it to your left hand. So just slide it over. And this is always going to be our finish line. The end of the ruler is where we start. Then I want you to go and measure another 7 inches. Okay, I'm trying to make sure that lines up. 7 inches. Go ahead and gather. Okay, want you to do a little inchworm thing. And then what is in your right hand, I want you to pass it to your left hand. Just pass it. Your hand should be able to handle grasping both of those at the same time. And then from here, I want you to do a little twist. Just twist it. So we're not on this side of the ribbon, we're on this side. Then I want you to take it all the way back to the start finish line. And I want you to measure off another 7 inches. We're going to call this, it would have been nice that it was like 777s, but this is like the 4 7s. So we're going to do the same thing, inchworm it together, okay, pass it off to your left hand. As I'm doing so, I'm just flipping it under so that I can actually hand that to my left hand. And we're doing our little twist. And then we're going to measure out our final 7 inches. And this is where I'll usually just come in here, cut that off. Okay. So this, technically right now, what I have in my hand, simple hand-tied bow. Okay. So whatever you're going to secure it with, a zip tie, a pipe cleaner, a piece of string, a floral wire, whatever you want to do, you can just go ahead. You can even, if you're going to build onto this bow and make more layers, you can just paper clip it, not paper clip it, what should we call it? Clothespin it. And then you can add your, put your dovetail back on that. So we have dovetail on both sides. Okay. If I bring these down, they're the exact same size. And my loops are exactly the same size. So that's just a basic hand-tied bow. But from this, even if you don't do the whole like learning how to twist it and all the fluffy things, we're going to take 3 of these and we're going to stack them together, and I'm going to show you how you're going to make a gorgeous looking bow. So we've done it once. Okay. We will set this one aside, and I'm going to grab another color. Let's go with green. Let's work on an autumn one. Same thing. We're going to do the exact same thing I just showed you here. If you want, you can vary your tails, but let's keep everything exactly the same. So, dovetail. I'm going to just move that out of the way. So you see there's like no tricks of the trade. We are going to, I guess that was easier, 7 inches. We're going to gather at 7, pass what's in my left hand to my right, or right hand to my left, measure off another 7, gather that together, pass it off to your left with a twist. Come back to your start line back at 0, measure out another 7, so it's going to be right on this line. And then right now I'm going to come behind, so I'm not going to come over, I'm going to come right behind. I'm going to pass it to my left hand, and I want to twist because I want to bring that pattern side back to the front, and we're going to cut this. Okay, and I have my chip clip, so we'll chip clip this one. Okay, but we'll do our dovetail end because we have finished on this side, we won't finish on this side. Okay, there we go. Ribbon number 1, ribbon number 2. Let's grab another ribbon. Even if you wanted to put the orange in the middle, or we'll even do the little satiny sucker and show you that we can get that in there too. Okay, slippy ribbon, because we all got to learn how to work with it. So again, always make sure you have a good fresh cut on your ribbon. It makes all the difference in the world. I'm going to do my dovetail, even though that was a sloppy cut. So I like to hold it when it slips for as long as I possibly can, so it doesn't slide out from my scissors like that one did. That's slop. See, I still do it. So just know, sad ribbon can be challenging. And I probably don't have my best scissors for this. Believe it or not, those have been in use for quite a while. Okay, so got even lengths. Gonna hold the tip. Okay, there is our dovetail end. Doesn't really matter if we go this color or that color. We'll go the green color. We will measure off 7. We will gather, transfer to left, move this back over, measure off another 7. This will be easy to tell. Green goes with green with a twist. We're going to measure off another 7, gather right here, green with green right to the back. I'm putting it to the back, not up here, to the back. And then we're going to twist. And we will measure off our final 7. I'm going to do it a little long, just because I'm picking this up single-handed. Okay. Super pretty. Let's get another. Get another clothespin. Pin that all in there. Now let's put our dovetail on that finished look. Okay. There we go. Nice, pretty one. Okay, now we're going to compile this together. So you are going to need something to hold all of them together. Like I said, whether it's a zip tie, you can borrow some from your husband, not that you'll give them back. Floral wire or pipe cleaner, super simple. Let's try doing it. If we do it with a zip tie, What do you guys think? Should we do it with a pipe cleaner or should we do it with a zip tie? Which would you prefer? So they're all going to come out equally the same. So let's see what you guys come up with. Zip tie or pipe cleaner? Which are you likely to have available? Everybody's got to have something available when they're putting their bows together. If you're already making wreaths, more than likely you already have pipe cleaners handy. Lori says zip tie. Okay, we can do zip tie. Elizabeth says zip tie. Of course. Why don't you just make it challenging for me? Okay, zip tie. Let's see, is this a 6? Yeah, it's a 6-inch. You're still gonna need something to anchor your bow to a wreath. So even if you use a zip tie to zip tie the layers, you're going to need an anchor point, whether it's another zip tie or whether it's a pipe cleaner. So, do I have 8-inch? Hopefully that maybe I might have some 8-inch ones, but they might be the wrong color, which might be good to see them in a whole different color. No, let's go with, let's just put a pipe cleaner in there as well. All right, so you need to come up with what colors do you want to lay on top of others. The fact that we have them all here gives us the opportunity to kind of try out all the looks. That's green, solid on top of the orange. Might not like that. You might want the lowy green. And then we'll add the orange. And then we can add that. That could be your combo. That's going to be your biggest challenge, is which one do you want to see on what top. We could do green, and orange. That's an option we have, which is solid in pattern, but then it's also, the way I see it, 2 green and 1 orange. Let's do these like this. Okay, so with our zip tie, I'm going to do a bigger zip tie just so you can see it, because if I lay that down you won't see it. You are going to remove your binder clip, chip clip, make sure all your tails are in the right direction. Then I want you to pick them up and I want you to start removing them layer by layer and stacking them in the center, just like this. And then our final one is here, and we'll stack that one here. Okay, ready for the zip tie. The zip tie is all ready to go. I can probably get this on 6. Okay, so I'm going to just barely zip tie. So I'm going to get that through. Okay, but now I want a way to anchor that. So whether we want to add another zip tie, you can go ahead and lay that in. Right behind it, you can add a pipe cleaner, whatever you want. We have to have some way of being able to anchor that onto your wreath. Okay, so now zip tie it tight, and none of your loops are going anywhere. And this is why, and I still have my zip tie in the back to go ahead and secure that on. From here, if you are doing a bow that's going to be, do we have? I'm trying to find a sign that would go with that. This should go. So if we had, I know the sign's not wholeheartedly done. If we wanted to add a bow to the bottom, you don't want it to impact your words to the bottom. You don't want it to impact your words. So you would want to bring all of your tails down below. So just like this. At the top, you have a couple decisions to make. How do you want to fluff these? You can fluff, you know, you can go same, what do you call them? Same ribbons. You can do opposites. We can do stuff that looks like this. We can go like an orange up here, and then we can bring another green over here, but then bring a green oops, down below, right here. And then you're always going to want to fluff them, which means don't leave them flat like this. None of your loops should ever be flat. It's perfect if you want to store them. That way, once you've made them, you're like, good, I can store that. I can put a whole bunch of them on top. We're good to go. You can take those all the way to the craft fair. When you get ready to fluff them, you want to make sure you're putting your fingers in your loops, just like this, and give them a good firm lift. Decide which way you want your colors to present. If you want to keep all the same colors together, you can do that. Well, trying to get the orange one, get my fingers in them. We'll go down here. And then we'll do the satin at the top. So no flat ends, just a lot of love in that bow. Okay, just like that. And there's people who make this all day long, and that's how they make their bows. They have never learned how to use a bow maker or anything else. This is just how they make their ribbons. And you might decide, okay, since this is my top ribbon, I want this to be a little shorter. Great. Go ahead and trim down the ends. It's this down the ends longer. Let's cut this just a touch shorter. Just like that. I think we're fine there. So now you can kind of see this one's a little longer. I'm just eyeballing it. So now we have a super simple bow made with no bow maker whatsoever. All done just with 3 different color ribbons. You could even do this the same way if you wanted multiple tails, and do your first one like this, do your second one just like that, third one just like that, and then you would have however many loops you want, plus whatever tails. And then to fluff your tails, you are going to pull up on your tails, and you're going to run them through your fingers like your fingers were the old school curling ribbon. Okay, and we're going to make them look a lot more pretty. I'm going to do this one here and this one here. And so now we have a really super cute bow. And if you wanted to, you could add a little embellishment to the center. You could add like a little pine cone. You could add a little acorn since we're going fall. It's entirely up to you. If you wanted to take a piece of raffia, raffia works the exact same way, but a little bit different. Let's grab a couple. Let's see, do I have some? Not that short. I was like, do I have a couple short pieces? We'll just take one. So raffia, we can break it down if it's a little too thick and give it that wispy look, the little country look that we'd like. What you do want to do is bring them all together at the end. Make sure you have a good starting point. And then our tails are roughly about 7 inches. So wherever you want your tails to wind up, start rolling or start looping your ribbon at that point. Oops. Loop it again. I have a whole bunch of different pieces of different lengths. Looping it again. Looping it again. And then from here, we can actually attach that bow, give it another little wispy tail. So let's take one of these skinnier pieces. And we're going to go ahead and secure all that together. Just like that. So I'm showing you simple bow making tricks that you can do until you master the bigger ones. Okay, so from here, I want this a little bit more wispier, and I want it to end roughly right about here. So again, we're going to go back and create the wispies since I didn't take it all the way down on this one. Bringing my tails down. And then we could take this, and if you wanted to, you could zip tie it there. You could add a little dot of glue and just glue it to the center, and you would have like a simple embellishment. If you wanted to embellish your ribbon, you could also take where are they? We have a half of that, please. We also have scatters and fillers, like you can get these at Hobby Lobby, you can get them at the Dollar Tree. You could take a little glitter ball, same thing. You could glue it in the center. If you wanted just a little pop of bringing that orange back to the center, just add a little dab of glue, and voila, you have a super simple bow done easily. Let's see. Deborah says, I struggle with a hand-tied bow and attaching my main bow on my frame. I really struggle with how to get it through and around the mesh when I tie it on my frame. Okay, we will work on that in the next class, like securing it. Like we'll go through a whole bunch of different ways that you can secure these depending upon what you're putting it on. A Unique in the Creek board, needlepoint board, a regular wire frame, an evergreen, or even a grapevine. Okay, but that is our super simple bow, and we are all ready to simply take this, attach this to, let's find a frame. You take it, super simple, Dollar Tree frame. So we have our bow. We're going to attach, I try if I can to get it on the cross welds, because then it definitely doesn't slide. If you just try to secure it on one, you might have an issue, you know, with some movement. You don't have to put it through more than one. Just one rail is perfect. But like I said, if you can get it on a cross member, it's ideal. So I'm going to flip this over and show you cross member side. Okay. I made sure when I put my zip tie on that it was on the right side. So we're going to put one on the lower side, one on the upper. We're going to zip tie that. And we have our bow all secured on the frame of our wreath. So we're all good to go. Super simple way of doing it. No bow maker required. All you need is a ruler, some wired ribbon, and your choice of what you want to put it together. You could do the exact same thing with a pipe cleaner, and I'll show you that real quick. Let's do, okay, so do you guys feel comfortable with the hand-tied, the 7-7-7-7 method? We'll just call it that way. 4 7s. This is a 4 7s hand-tied bow. So it yields 6 loops and 6 tails. Okay. The one I want to show you using the same technique, we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, or no, 1, 2, 3. So let's use, we'll do the same colors. Let's get rid of these. Let me know if you guys have any questions so far. You guys are all like, pipe. We'll do pipe cleaner for the next one. So that shows you how you can use a zip tie. Okay. All right. So we're going to do the same. We're going to do 1, 2, and 3. Take this one and set it aside. Don't be afraid to pull your ribbon out from the packaging. Even at Costco or Sam's Club, if I can't feel it, I'm going to be pulling it out from beneath the plastic. So we have our ways of holding the ribbon together. These are our little embellishment options. Like I said, you can use measuring tape. It works the exact same way. It just helps you, if you can keep your measurements pretty precise, it helps. You might fidge a little while you're tightening it, but you can always adjust it once you get them in. So let's do We'll save this one for the 1. We'll do this as 1, right? Because that's 2. So we're going to do 3 loops, 2 loops, 1 loop. We'll save this one for the 1 loop. So let's do this as our 3 loop bow using hand-tied method. We're going to call it 3, 2, 1. So what is the first step we do when we're starting our bow? This is your mini test, if it will. What do we do when we start our bows? What is the first step we should do? In order to gain a habit so that you don't forget. I'm looking for either way, for someone to come up with the answer. I'm so particular. I hate clutter. Measure. Before that, Carol, so definitely that, but Elizabeth and Joan got it, dovetail. So we have our ribbon out. The first thing we want to do is dovetail because it gets you into good habit. It means when you start a ribbon and finish the ribbon, you're going to dovetail so you don't forget. If you start habits now, it becomes muscle memory. It's like something you automatically do. So, ruler. Same thing. We're going to do the 7, 7, 7 thing. Completion times completion, as Jesus would say. So 7 inches, we're going to gather. Okay. We're going to go from here, transfer it back to the beginning. And I'm going to measure 7 inches again. Going to gather, transfer from right to left with a twist. We're going to go 7 again. Right here, we're going to gather, hand it off. We're going to twist. Okay, then I'm going to measure one last time. And we're going to do 7. It's always going to the back. Twist. And then our final 7 should be right here on that dotted line. Boop. Okay. Now don't worry that both are on the same side. Not to worry. We'll fix that when we're fluffing. The whole thing is builded. Okay? But I ended, so I'm going to dovetail. Not to worry. Okay? This time we've made a 3 loop bow. It has 3 loops and 2 tails. Now we're going to make a 2 loop bow. We're going to save that one for the single. Same thing. Starting, dovetail the ends, or however you want to finish it. Diagonal cut, whatever you would like to do. Then you're going to do 7. We're going to measure, gather, transfer from right to left, go all the way back to the start. We're going to gather, go back. We passed it to the right, and right here I'm going to do a twist. So if you notice now my bow is pointing up because I've got that twist in there. Here's the 7. We're going to gather. And here's my twist. And see, now I don't even have to keep my bow straight. I just have to follow my ruler. Oops, sorry. Here's my last one. I was going to go 3 again. Whoop. There's that one. We'll chip clip it. We'll put our dovetail end on that one. So 3, 2, and now we have 1. Which is this going to be 1 loop? Hi. Saying hi to my deer. Hi, baby. She's been chased by all the bucks today. Poor thing. Dovetail. Okay. And we're going to do 7. Right here. We're going to gather at 7. Transfer from left to right. Measure out another 7. Transfer. Twist. and our final 7. Okay, chip clip. It's like an awareness ribbon. All I wanted to do is hold it. And we're going to do the same thing. This time we'll do pipe cleaner. But it's the same theory. So the fact that I did this one, and I can even tell when, if it comes out of my chip clip like it did right there, I can see right where I pinched it. Chip clips didn't really hold that one that well because it's slippy. Okay, so the same thing. We're going to do a 3. We're going to do, we can even put our 3 here if we want, and then we can put our 1 in the center if we'd like. It's just going to be based on your preference. It's not like it's going to make a difference. We can even do 3, whoop, then 2, and then a 1 on top of that. It's just depending on the color. The fact that I can switch this and do green if I wanted to. See what I'm saying? I can see where I gathered this. So I can gather, flip, and I'm good. So that we have something going here. Like I said, call it a 3, 2, 1. Let me get another. I want something that has some weight to it that can hold that. Okay, so let's do 3, then 2, and then a 1. I'm going to bring these like this. I'm going to take and put this on top of this. And then I'm going to take this and put this on top of this. Whoop. And I want to make sure that when I'm doing my little crisscross, that when I go to secure it, whoop, that I'm securing it through all the layers that I need to. So kind of like that is how it's going to get anchored. Let me grab a pipe cleaner. It's kind of like a mossy green. And I just wrap my pipe cleaner. Oop, I missed that one. So see, I missed my loop. So not to worry, I'm going to hold that. And I'm going to go ahead and put this back together. Okay, we're going to bring this back over the top. Yank it to the bottom. And we're going to twist. And I always find that if you're working with a pipe cleaner, number one, you've got a hanger and a gatherer all in one. Same thing. You saw what happened here because we had 2. We had to have a way of securing that. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pull those down. From here, I'm going to take my tail, move it over to the side. So there's that one, this one, moving that over. So here's our 1, here's our 2. We're going to do our middle, in the middle, and then our end. So let's look at, laying these flat with our loop. If this is too big, super simple, just bring your tails down a little bit at a time to give yourself like a desired look. Like I want that just a little bit more down inside. Trying to get that to come back over. There we go. Here's this, here's that. Now remember, both of these were on 2 totally opposite sides. So now we're going to bring these up, and now we have a 6 ribbon bow with 6 tails too, just a totally different way. And since we already have our pipe cleaner on it, same thing. We're going to attach it to the cross member of our design. So I go above one rail, but on one side here, one side here, one side here, one side here. So it's like a perfect X. And this is what I'm doing on the underside. I'm doing the twist, 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 flipping this over. And then I can go ahead and make whatever adjustments I want with my bow. So if I want the satin tails a little shorter, like this one for sure, because I pulled it. There we go. Still want to cut them a little bit shorter because the ones underneath are a little longer. There's that one. This one I can kind of cheat because I can hold the top, hold the bottom, just cut in the middle. And there's those cute little bows. We'll make this one because remember, right now all of our tails are the exact same length. So let's make them to where they all look. And you could go measure smaller, but sometimes we don't know until we get to the finished stage and we go, oh, I kind of like that a little bit longer. I want this one a little bit shorter, but that is what I will call the 3-2-1 bow. Same thing. Put your curls back in them so they follow. This one a little harder to notice because the tensile strength in our wire is so much thinner. But there is our 3-2-1, and this is our hand tied. No bow maker at all. What do you think? Deborah says, is it dove or duck? Well, technically it could be fish too. It's honestly whatever you want to call it. Dovetail, some people call it dovetail, some people call it decktail. It's exactly the same thing. It just looks like a bird's tail. That's all it is. Like, is that a duck tail? Is that a dovetail? Or is that a fish's tail? It's all the same. Yes, so it would be dovetail. Okay. So I wanted you guys to see that you can do it the old school way. And then I always have people who say, well, I have arthritis and, you know, doing the hand tied thing isn't necessarily going to work for me. Well, then at that point, you're going to move up to like the next, it's going to be based on preference. This point, if you're going off a price point, whatever you pick will work. Some of them have some additional perks that you may not consider. And I'll make sure that I break all those out. And I will, when we do the next tutorial, we'll talk about the 3. And we'll talk about the pros and cons of each. We'll talk about where you can get them best price. And then at that point, it's going to be entirely up to you. But at some point, you should migrate to a bow maker. It just makes your life so much easier because it's like having an extra set of hands. Although today we did it with chip clips, clothespins, and these, and you can get all 3 of these at the Dollar Tree. And then you're good. You can even get cheap Dollar Tree ribbon just to practice bow making. But look, right now you have 2 gorgeous bows set for fall that you can add to like florals, like a bouquet. You can add these to the undersides of your lamps because I decorate like the bases of my lamps. I will put something like this right underneath. You could put these on your towel holder for fall. You could put these on your swags. If you have like lights in your bathroom that have 3 lights, you can tie these to the end. And now you've mastered it. So just try, and I'm going to ask you guys to come back and comment. Try the 777 or the 321, but it's all still the 7s. And let me know which one you prefer. The better the ribbon, the easier it's going to be. You saw my struggles here. Even though it's gorgeous, it's got a nice pretty sheen, you can still use it. But if you're trying to master the technique, get the technique down, And once it becomes so automatic that you would almost do it blindfolded, then you can start incorporating some harder ribbon like non-wired ribbon, and I'll teach you how to do all of that. Okay, thank you. And Steve put it in there. You can also spray E6000 glue spray to keep from fraying. Yeah, so the E6000 spray adhesive just looks like this. It comes in a little spray bottle. It's like watered down Elmer's glue, but it's better because it doesn't leave it stiff. But for some of these that would fray, you could just spray the ends, let them dry, and then you're good to go. Okay, thanks for that tip, Steve. Okay, everyone, I will be back next week, Thursday, with, we'll call it Bow Makers Pros and Cons. And we'll discuss the pros and cons of each. And I will take some of your questions that you guys put in here about how do we attach it to the deco mesh. You know, I'm struggling to get solid secure, like this one. They're on there really good, but there's no mesh to keep them. But, I mean, it is what it is. But they're on there fairly tight, so you're good to go. And then we'll get into fluffing. We'll decompress a bunch of bows, and we'll show you how to properly fluff a bow. Okay, thanks, guys, for all of your great questions. And I will put the formula for the 3, 2, 1. And then this one we're going to call the 4 7s, hand-tied bows, just so you can master these. And even if you just want to do a simple hand-tied bow to put at the bottom of a sign, you're good to go. Like, this would look super adorable. I wish I had a sign to show you how super simple cute that would be. Like, okay, here's this, right? Let's take this one off because this one I can take off really quick. I'd have to unzip tie the other one, and then now I have no zip tie to feed that back on. But technically you could just add a simple bow to a sign. So you can go to these and get super cute signs at the Dollar Tree or Target's dollar section. Make a super simple bow. Make it here. Take your bow, staple it to your sign, right? If you want to staple it to the corner, you can have like a really nice, fabulous corner bow for your sign, and you can hang these up on a much larger scale. I'm just trying to show you small scale. Or you can do it at the top, or you can, voila, add that to the bottom of the sign, and you have a super simple, easy way to decorate your home, just being able to do hand-tied bows. Okay, everyone,